starting with 1 million luck points. Chapter 391, Killing and Stealing Treasures. The Iron Bone Bear King was very puzzled. How could others know such a thing? Moreover, not only did this person in silver armor know, but he also knew very clearly. Therefore, he naturally believed that Zhou Hao was the one who had emptied the Essence Energy Ancestral Stone Mine. Of course, he was right, but Zhou Hao would not admit it. Humph, you don't have to know how I know. Tell me, do you know any other Essence Energy Ancestral Stone Mines other than that one? Zhou Hao asked directly. After all, this Essence Energy Ancestral Stone was really useful to Zhou Hao. Even if he could not use it now, he could still use it in the future. If he obtained the other modules of the 1000 feather armor again, repairing it would also be a huge consumption. I know, of course I know. I can tell you the location of more than 10 mines. The Iron Bone Bear King immediately said. Zhou Hao nodded. Very good. Then mark these 10 spots and tell me, and I'll spare your life. Zhou Hao did not say anything else and immediately said. All right, all right. However, do you keep your word? You're not lying to me, are you? The Iron Bone Bear King was not stupid and asked instead. Zhou Hao frowned. Do you think there's anything else you can do other than choosing to believe me? It's fine if you don't tell me. I'll just cut off your arm first. You can tell me then. As Zhou Hao spoke, he directly took out a long saber and was about to use it. The scene shocked the Iron Bone Bear King silly. No, no, no. I believe you. You humans are the most trustworthy. You definitely won't lie to me. I'll mark them for you right now. The Iron Bone Bear King did not want to test its luck. If it really lost an arm, it could forget about advancing to the Heaven Realm for the rest of its life. Therefore, it did not hesitate and immediately marked the locations before handing it to Zhou Hao. Inside the 12th spatial rift, there are 2 more. There's 1 in the 11th spatial rift, 3 in the 10th spatial rift, 2 in the 9th spatial rift, and 3 in the 7th spatial rift. The ones left are all in the core area. They're all huge Essence Energy Ancestral Stone Mines and are guarded by quasi-Heaven Realm experts. You won't be able to get inside. The Iron Bone Bear King was rather reliable. Not only did it take out the map, but it also emphasized that the mutated beasts guarding it were not Heaven Realm, but quasi-Heaven Realm. This made Zhou Hao very happy. After all, killing a quasi-Heaven Realm beast was very easy for Zhou Hao. However, killing Heaven Realm beasts was a different story. Therefore, at that time, not only could he obtain the Essence Energy Ancestral Stone, but he could also kill mutated beasts to accumulate points and also sell their corpses for Heaven Dao coins. It was simply killing 3 birds with 1 stone. Very good, I'll verify them one by one. If you lie to me, I'll kill you even if I have to chase you to the ends of the earth. Zhou Hao threatened directly. Don't worry, don't worry. I won't lie to you. Why would I lie to you? The Iron Bone Bear King chuckled. It naturally had its reasons for doing this. If this brat really went, he would definitely obtain the Essence Energy Ancestral Stone and even kill those mutated beasts. As for the bar, it could directly rob them of their resources. Zhou Hao did not know that they were guarding the Essence Energy Ancestral Stone not because they were ordered to, but because of the good fortune here. The Essence Energy Ancestral Stone Mine was located in places where Essence Energy was condensed. Although the Essence Energy Ancestral Stone there could not be cultivated, the surrounding Essence Energy was still rich. Moreover, it would lose many opponents after Zhou Hao was done killing these mutated beasts. In the end, there was no harm in telling. The Iron Bone Bear King was not worried at all that the foreign races would be invaded by the humans simply because of the deaths of a few quasi-Heaven Realm mutated beasts. Because this was impossible. The reason why the humans and foreign races could coexist peacefully was not because of the quasi-Heaven Realm experts, but because of those true big shots. Only when the true big shots had equal strength could this balance be maintained. As for those with lower cultivation, they were all insignificant. Zhou Hao swept his gaze over the Iron Bone Bear King and naturally did not know what it was thinking. His body moved, and he left to head towards the nearest Essence Energy Ancestral Stone Mine. The one guarding this place was still a quasi-heaven realm beast, a six-tailed demon fox. This race was a noble bloodline among the mutated beasts. Although six tails were neither considered high nor low in the demon fox race, they were still very powerful. Once they broke through to the heaven realm, they would acquire a seventh tail and their bloodlines would also increase in preparation for their stronger cultivation in the future. Of course, although the bloodline of the seven tails had evolved, it was still impossible for them to reach the peak. Only the nine tails with the highest bloodline could have the chance to break through the limit of the mutated beasts. Among the big shots of the foreign races today, one of them was a nine-tailed demon fox. At this moment, the six-tailed demon fox was resting. Although guarding the Essence Energy Ancestral Stone was boring, cultivating here was still relatively comfortable. But at this moment, a strong wind came, making its expression change. It looked up and saw a human figure appear. "A human? Hehe, you're really courting death. I was just feeling bored when a human came to die. Interesting." The six-tailed demon fox's voice was very pleasant to the ear and carried a charming tone. If not for the fact that it was the figure of a fox, Zhou Hao would have thought that it was a young woman. "Die? You will be the one that dies today." Zhou Hao smiled and couldn't be bothered to waste his breath. He directly used his god-slaying art, and his cultivation immediately exploded, vaguely reaching the point where he was about to break through to the heaven realm. In addition, his gravity domain could be said to be incomparably powerful. The six-tailed demon fox was not a pushover. It waved its six tails and tore through the void, raising strange flames. This was the powerful talent of the demon fox foreign races. They could control strange flames and had incomparably powerful destructive power. However, under Zhou Hao's absolute strength and the gravity domain, it was no match for him at all. It was defeated in a few rounds. Zhou Hao could not be bothered to waste his breath. The thousand-feather armor resisted its flames as he took out the black dragon spear. Lightning filled the sky as it pierced out. In the next second, the six-tailed demon fox was instantly killed. Even in death, it did not know how this person in front of it was so powerful. After Zhou Hao killed it, he passed by its guarding area and saw an Essence Energy Ancestral Stone Mine. He smiled. "Looks like the Iron Bone Bear King really did not lie to me. Damn, I've made a killing this time." Zhou Hao was very happy. He controlled the thousand-feathered armor and directly entered. This armor was indeed extraordinary. The spatial tearing power was useless against the armor. It was as if he had come to his own backyard as he leisurely strolled into the mine. Zhou Hao did not waste his breath and directly put these Essence Energy Ancestral Stones into his bag. His body moved and he directly left. However, just as he left, the 100 Insect King's figure instantly appeared. Its expression was extremely ugly and furious. The six-tailed demon fox is actually dead? The Essence Energy Ancestral Stones were also taken away? Could it be that the humans have sent a Heaven Realm expert to snatch the Essence Energy Ancestral Stones? The 100 Insect King was very furious. It had a total of 3 Essence Energy Ancestral Stone mines in the 12th Spatial Rift under its control, but it had already lost 2. These 2 Essence Energy Ancestral Stone mines could definitely create a large number of supernatural experts. They could even create 1 or 2 Heaven Realm experts. This was not good news for the mutated beasts. Once the number of human Heaven Realm experts increased, their ability to compete for the Spatial Rift would decrease. In this way, their invasion against the human race on planet Earth would be stopped. This was something it did not want to see happen. Chapter 392, 9 Revolutions Overlord Body Art. The 100 Insect King was very furious. This Essence Energy Ancestral Stone was very important. It was even the reason why the foreign races persisted in staying in the Spatial Rift. No matter how much manpower and resources they wasted, they still had to defend this place. This was because if the humans obtained the essence energy ancestral stone, they would quickly grow. This was not a good thing for the foreign races. This can't continue. As the 100 Insect King spoke, its huge figure disappeared. After it left, Zhou Hao stuck his head out. He had not gone far just now. After sensing the aura of the 100 Insect King, he had deliberately stopped to observe its reaction. Zhou Hao did not notice its reaction, but he knew that the foreign races would definitely not let this matter rest. Looks like I have to increase my strength soon. Zhou Hao took a deep breath and returned to his training camp. He took off his 1,000 feather armor and returned to his room. His gains this time were huge. Not only did he obtain the mineral resources of 3 essence energy ancestral stones, but they also killed 3 quasi-heaven realm beasts. This was all worth a lot of money and luck points. Zhou Hao did not say anything else and directly went to the shop of the Heaven Dao software to sell it. Zhou Hao had just entered the Heaven Dao software when many netizens began to suck up to him. I'm just an ordinary person. Big Shot, you're here again. The Big Shot is here, ha ha ha. Every time the Big Shot enters the software, it will cause a commotion. Looks like it's the same this time. Is the Big Shot going to spam the screen or is he going to get the mystery box? They all tagged Zhou Hao, but Zhou Hao ignored them. He clicked on his luck points and looked at the hundreds of millions of luck points. He was extremely happy. This killing of quasi-heaven realm beasts had indeed brought him a lot of benefits. After selling these 3 quasi-heaven realm beasts, Zhou Hao obtained tens of billions of Heaven Dao coins. This was simply a lot of money. He was currently a platinum user. For him to advance to a diamond user, he would need hundreds of billions of Heaven Dao coins. With this money, he had to kill at least 100 quasi-heaven realm beasts. Sigh, I'm afraid I still have a long way to go before I become a diamond user. As Zhou Hao spoke, he felt depressed. Seeing so much money, Zhou Hao was in no hurry to use it. He did not lack anything now. All he needed was the other 1,000 feather armor modules. He also couldn't upgrade his god-slaying art to the god-destroying art. As for movement techniques, he was already satisfied with the Golden Crow escape technique. Moreover, he also had the Shadow 7 Sabers, which was his best technique. However, this cultivation technique of mine is too eye-catching. I still need to change my cultivation technique. Zhou Hao's cultivation techniques, such as the Great Yan Record and the Greenwood Art, were all associated with his identity as President Zhou. If he used them, it would be easy for others to discover his identity. Therefore, Zhou Hao planned to cultivate a different cultivation technique. Thinking of this, Zhou Hao went to the shop and opened the cultivation technique. He searched carefully and saw a powerful cultivation technique. 9 Revolutions Overlord Body Art. Zhou Hao hurriedly looked at the introduction of this cultivation technique and was shocked. This 9 Revolutions Overlord Body Art's level was very high, even higher than the Black Dragon Spear. The introduction also stated that it was an Earth-level cultivation technique. Moreover, the price was tens of billions. With his current financial strength, Zhou Hao had to spend everything he had just to buy this cultivation technique. However, this cultivation technique was indeed powerful. This cultivation technique mainly refined the body. There were a total of 9 revolutions. Under the 9 revolutions, it was like the body could become a divine artifact of the universe. This made Zhou Hao extremely tempted, so he bought it without hesitation. This 9 revolutions Overlord Body Art had a total of 9 revolutions. Every revolution required endless essence energy to succeed. It was not like those cultivation techniques that could be easily used as long as the compatibility was high enough. After all, this cultivation technique was used for modifying and could not be learned. It was used to modify one's body, just like how one would use essence energy to temper one's body. Zhou Hao also had quite a bit of essence energy ancestral stones now. Therefore, without saying a word, he directly activated the 9 revolutions Overlord body art. After he finished cultivating, he was stunned. He had immediately consumed 30% of his essence energy ancestral stone and had only reached the 3rd revolution. This is too difficult. It has to be known that this was enough to fully repair the 1000 feather armor. And yet, I've only reached the 3rd revolution and I've already spent so much essence energy. Zhou Hao was dumbfounded. However, since he had already decided on this cultivation technique, he had to give up on his essence energy ancestral stones. After the 3rd revolution, Zhou Hao clearly felt that his body was already different. Zhou Hao did not know what was different, but he could sense that his perception of his surroundings had increased. Moreover, he felt that his body was filled with strength. In order to verify, Zhou Hao directly let Little Yu test his combat strength. Zhou Hao had memorized the more powerful functions of the 1000 feather armor. However, Zhou Hao did not care much about these small functions, such as testing combat strength or virtual combat. At this moment, he wanted Little Yu to test his combat strength. Reporting to Master, with your original physique, you could unleash 10,000 tons of strength. In other words, your cosmic strength only used to be 100 tons. However, your current strength has reached 1,000 tons of cosmic strength. Hearing this, Zhou Hao was dumbfounded. What 1,000 tons of cosmic strength? Isn't that 100,000 tons of strength? Is this the effect of the enhancement of the 9 revolutions Overlord body art? Zhou Hao did not dare to believe it. Yes, Master. Your strength has already reached the 3rd grade heaven realm. Little Yu's words shocked Zhou Hao even more. He was not even a heaven realm expert, yet he could actually erupt with a 3rd grade heaven realm strength. What kind of concept was this? If he could resist a 3rd grade heaven realm attack and also release a 3rd grade heaven realm combat strength, wouldn't that mean that he could take on a heaven realm expert with his current quasi-heaven realm cultivation? This was something that Zhou Hao did not dare to believe. After all, a heaven realm expert was different from a quasi-heaven realm expert. Quasi-heaven realm experts could only be called martial artists, but heaven realm experts were true big shots. The reason why there was such a powerful difference between the heaven realm and the quasi-heaven realm was that the quasi-heaven realm were only able to extend the limit of the human physique. On the other hand, heaven realm experts have already broken through this limit and reached perfection in their various attributes. Only when one reached this level could he or she become a heaven realm expert. To put it bluntly, everyone below the heaven realm were still ordinary people. However, experts above the heaven realm were all superhumans. Their will, bodies, and even mental strength had all reached the limit of humanity, rising to a completely new level. Therefore, if a heaven realm expert wanted to kill a quasi-heaven realm expert, they only needed to move their fingers. This was the difference. Zhou Hao did not know if the end of cultivation was above the heaven realm. If it was, then it would be the limit on planet Earth. It would also mean that heaven realm experts were the strongest experts and could affect the entire world. Now, Zhou Hao, who only had an ordinary mortal body, was actually able to resist the strongest force in this land. It really shocked Zhou Hao. Chapter 393, Dark Knight Group. While Zhou Hao was shocked, he also did not dare to believe that his strength had really reached this level. However, now that he had reached this level, it also meant that he could now maintain his calm. After all, Zhou Hao was to be able to resist a heaven realm expert with a quasi-heaven realm cultivation. However, at this moment, a huge matter happened in the entire human alliance. The entire foreign races denounced the humans for breaking the rules. At this moment, in the meeting room of the Human Heaven Realm Alliance, the leaders of the various divisions were sitting there. The expressions of the 7 divisions were solemn. The leader of the first division took a deep breath and could not help but say, "The foreign races claim that we broke the rules and sent Heaven Realm experts into the spatial rift to kill their quasi-Heaven Realm experts and snatch the essence energy ancestral stones. According to what I know, all the Heaven Realm experts of our human race have not been mobilized. The representative of the first division spoke with an ugly expression. The others were the same. There was an agreement between the mutated beasts and the humans that Heaven Realm experts were not allowed to be casually dispatched. After all, experts with such cultivation were no longer ordinary martial artists. If they entered the battlefield and secretly killed the other experts, it would affect the absolute balance. If the humans could do this, the foreign races could also do the same. When that happened, things would really become chaotic. In fact, the foreign races could even send secret experts to kill their ordinary humans. This was what the Alliance did not want to see. In comparison, it was very difficult for their Heaven Realm experts to enter the foreign race space. It was even possible that they might not be able to come out after entering. The foreign race's territory was very barren and dangerous. The conditions were terrible, but the territory of the humans was different. The lands occupied by the humans were all fertile and relatively safe. After all, humans' land was also suitable for the foreign races. However, the opposite wasn't true. This matter is highly valued by the higher UPS. The establishment of this treaty was only possible because we humans are powerful. However, we still can't compare to the foreign races. They have many races and don't care about life and death. It's very easy for them to send a few suicide teams. But we humans are different. Our warriors were nurtured. Every death is a loss for us humans. But now, a mysterious expert has killed 3 of their foreign race's quasi-heaven realm experts, and one of them is a member of the demon fox race. This has angered the foreign races, especially since they had just lost 3 essence energy ancestral stone mines. The foreign races are very furious and have already exerted pressure. If they break the agreement unilaterally and war breaks out, many human lives will be sacrificed. This is not something the higher UPS want to see. Our human race has invested a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get where we are today. We definitely can't let this happen. The representative of the first division had an ugly expression as he looked at everyone and continued. Tell me, who is this mysterious Heaven Realm expert? They looked at each other, unable to figure it out at all. A strange thought flashed through Zhu Zhao's mind. Could this person be President Zhou? President Zhou's combat strength was very strong. If he attacked, it would be very easy for him to kill a few quasi-heaven realm beasts. If it was really him, things would be difficult. The humans had originally put out an order to apprehend him because he had cultivated a Genesis rune. If he were to do something like this now, it would definitely affect the balance between the mutated beasts and the humans. Since Zhu Zhao thought this way, the others were naturally the same. At this moment, the only person in our human race who can kill a quasi-heaven realm beast without leaving any traces is President Zhou. When the others heard this, their expressions immediately turned ugly. If it's President Zhou, then it means things are bad. He's definitely doing this on purpose. He wants to start a war between the humans and the foreign races. In this way, he will be one step closer to destroying all the martial artists. Someone analyzed it again. After saying this, Zhu Zhao's expression immediately changed. This was a heavy accusation. If President Zhou really had such thoughts, then it would really be a disaster for the humans. Humph, I knew it. Those who cultivate Genesis runes are definitely not good people. Do you guys see it now? This person actually wants to break the balance between the humans and the foreign races. If the balance is really destroyed, it will definitely be a huge disaster for us. That's right. I've decided that we should immediately arrest President Zhou and issue a global wanted order. Be it a supernatural expert, a master, or even a heaven realm expert, we have to order everyone to arrest President Zhou if they see him. We can't do this secretly anymore. Their attitude was very firm. For the sake of the humans, they had to do this. Moreover, President Zhou's behavior had already made a lot of people dissatisfied and afraid. Last time, the person who had learned some Genesis runes had almost destroyed the entire world. This time, they definitely could not let go of the person who was learning Genesis runes. They wanted to nip this matter in the bud. In that case, let's put out a high-level bounty and mobilize the Dark Knight group to arrest them. The representative of the 1st Division took a deep breath and said directly. After saying this, Zhu Zhao's expression turned ugly, and he thought to himself that Zhou Hao was done for. The Dark Knight group was the Alliance Association's strongest attacking force, a weapon that could kill any enemy. The identities of the people in this group were all classified. No one knew how many members they had or how powerful they were. However, Zhu Zhao did in fact know about this one incident. In the past, the strongest martial artist of a large family had already reached the 8th grade heaven realm and stood at the peak. However, his secret cooperation with the foreign races ended up being discovered by the Alliance, causing the Dark Knight group to be mobilized. That was the first time the Dark Knight group had been mobilized. It took only 1 day for that Heaven Realm expert's head to be separated from his body. After that, his entire family also vanished into thin air, as if they had never existed in this world. The Dark Knight group represented absolute death. If they were allowed to kill President Zhou would definitely have no chance of survival. Zhu Zhao wanted to say something, but he couldn't say anything. So what if he objected alone? 6 out of the 7 divisions had agreed. If he jumped out at this moment, he would probably provoke many people and even cause trouble. He could only sigh and hope that President Zhou was safe and sound. The moment the news was sent, the entire alliance was stunned, especially the martial artists who had fought alongside President Zhou in the past. They did not understand why the higher UPS wanted to arrest President Zhou. This arrest order also reached the elite training camp in Suling. When they saw this information, they were shocked and in disbelief. Chapter 394, Joining Green Cloud. What's going on? President Zhou is going to be arrested? Why? That's right. Isn't President Zhou our hero warrior? How could this be? There must be a problem, there must be a problem. Look, they said that President Zhou violated the Alliance's decision and is in extreme danger. How is that possible? Be it Yuan Cheng, Zhang Yi, or even Yun Yan, Fang Yu, or Su Ling, none of them dared to believe it. Not long ago, President Zhou had even resolved the matter of the 13th Spatial Rift. If not for President Zhou, the 13th Spatial Rift would not have become a training base. However, it had only been a few months since this incident happened. However, now President Zhou had become a wanted man. This was too funny. Zhou Hao, do you know about this? Su Ling asked Zhou Hao at this moment. Others might not know, but she knew that Zhou Hao's master was President Zhou. If something happened to President Zhou at this moment, Zhou Hao should know something. Sorry, I just learned about it. Moreover, it was always Master who contacted me first. I rarely contact him. I really don't know what happened. Of course, Zhou Hao could not tell them the truth, let alone tell them that he was President Zhou. Otherwise, it would be a little strange. If even you don't know, then I don't think there's anybody who knows. Su Ling frowned and couldn't help but say. Instructor Bai, yes, Instructor Bai must know. Instructor Bai is also a quasi-heaven realm expert. She must know something. At this moment, Yuan Cheng suddenly said, this brat sure was smart during critical moments. That's right. Instructor Bai must know something. Let's go and ask her. Yun Yan and Fang Yu were also anxious. Without another word, the 6 of them found Instructor Bai. After Bai Linglong learned of this, she was also very furious. Although she did not know whether President Zhou was the one who had killed the foreign race's quasi-heaven realm beast or not, it did not matter at this moment. After all, did it matter? President Zhou was a quasi-heaven realm expert, so it was reasonable for him to kill a quasi-heaven realm beast. It was not against the rules at all, so why should they arrest him? Moreover, why would cultivating a Genesis rune make him a bad guy? Bai Linglong did not understand. Most of the credit for successfully taking back the 13th Spatial Rift belonged to President Zhou. Because of this, Sword King Qing had even bestowed the Black Dragon Spear to President Zhou. There was also the matter of the 7th Spatial Rift. If not for President Zhou's Genesis Rune, they would have been done for and the 7th Spatial Rift would have fallen. But now, because of President Zhou, the 7th Spatial Rift was safe and sound. He had even killed a few quasi-heaven realm beast experts, relieving the pressure on the front line. However, what did the humans do for President Zhou in return? They actually wanted to arrest President Zhou. Weren't they basically biting the hand that fed them? Bai Linglong was very mad. At this moment, Zhou Hao and the others found her and asked about this. Bai Linglong saw the confusion in Su Ling, Yun Yan and the others' eyes, as well as disbelief and even a little anger. She also sighed in her heart. Bai Linglong could tell that they were thinking the same thoughts as her. She also realized that since Zhou Hao was President Zhou's disciple, he must be very disappointed at this moment. Despite thinking like this, Bai Linglong still spoke. I don't know what's going on either, but like you guys, I believe in President Zhou. There might be a misunderstanding here. We can only explain it clearly after meeting President Zhou. Therefore, don't worry. Bai Linglong could only comfort everyone like this. Otherwise, there was nothing else she could do. However, these words were clearly not enough to convince them. Moreover, Su Ling and the others were not like naive little kids who had just entered the martial Dao world. They could still sense the problem from Bai Ling's subtle changes. However, Bai Linglong did not want to tell them. At the same time, they also could not expose her and could not ask. After all, this was not something students like them could know about. After returning from Bai Linglong's place, they were all very depressed. Ever since they were in school, they had known President Zhou. It could be said that President Zhou was very important to them. It was the same for Yun Yan. When they had just arrived from the Yanjing training camp, they had been attacked by mutated beasts. If not for President Zhou, they would have all died. But now, that martial artist who had once fought at the front line and saved many of their lives was actually wanted. Moreover, the reason given was vague. The reason was that Priest and Zhou had gone against the Alliance's decision. They did not understand. Even if they asked, they would not be able to obtain any answers. This was a secret of the human race and was not something they could know about. Only after they stepped into the supernatural level or even became quasi-heaven realm experts would they have a chance. This matter had a huge impact on humans. Zhou Hao also knew that the sudden pressure was probably related to him killing the 3 mutated beasts and robbing the 3 essence energy ancestral stone mines. Zhou Hao took a deep breath. It seemed that he had to lie low for a while before doing something like this again. The days of the training camp continued to pass, but they still thought about President Zhou. Moreover, the foreign race's advancement became more and more violent, and the war continued. As a quasi-heaven realm expert, Bai Linglong also occasionally rushed to the front line. Time passed slowly. In the blink of an eye, a year had passed. In this year, Su Ling's cultivation had already reached the peak of the Grandmaster level. The others had also stepped into the Grandmaster level and become true experts. Although the elite team was not disbanded after they became Grandmasters, in order to nurture more experts, the members of the few teams present still had to start their training. Naturally, the training would not just be carried in the training camp. Although they had gone into the 13th Spatial Rift to kill mutated beasts before, they had always done so under the supervision of Bai Linglong. Starting from tomorrow, you will all have to completely integrate into the 7 teams on the front line and join one of the 7 divisions. This was already decided when you joined the elite teams. In a while, your respective divisions will come to pick you up and give you missions. From now on, you can be considered to have graduated. Bai Linglong smiled for the first time. After she finished speaking, they were all stunned. What, graduated? So soon? We've only trained for less than 2 years. That's right, how did it go by so fast? They were all puzzled, but Bai Linglong said. The 13th Spatial Rift has always been a valuable training base, and you, as an elite team, are even more valuable. However, we can't place all of our hopes on you guys. We still have to nurture new blood. At the same time, you can't always study in school. You should really integrate what you learned here into the battlefield. There's still more to learn in the real world. Although Bai Linglong said this, she knew that she was only saying this to motivate the students. Soon, their respective teams picked them all up. As for Zhou Hao and the others from the 7th team, they arrived at the Green Cloud Division. The person who received them was not anyone else but Yang Hui. Chapter 395, 100 City. Zhou Hao and the others were extremely excited to see Yang Hui again. They had rarely seen Yang Hui during this period of training. Although they had not been together with Yang Hui for long, their relationship was very good. They were still very happy that Yang Hui was in charge of leading them into the Green Cloud Division this time. Congratulations, all of you have already become Grandmasters. I believe it won't be long before you all can step into the supernatural level. The Green Cloud Division will be different from school. In school, you are the future of the entire human race, but in the Green Cloud Division, you are the warriors of the Green Cloud Division. You are only loyal to the Green Cloud Division, understand? Yang Hui looked at these 6 little guys and sighed with emotion. Who would have thought that the little guys who had just reached the master level back then would actually become grandmasters and advance to the supernatural level one day? However, they were still a little surprised by Yang Hui's words. They had cultivated in the academy for the sake of the entire human race. But now, why did it seem like Yang Hui was implying that the humans were divided? Instructor Yang, what's the meaning of this? Su Ling could not help but ask. Yun Yan, Fang Yu and the others were the same. Hehe, I knew you guys would ask this. Actually, how should I put it? Although the human race is united, there are still conflicts in certain hidden areas. After all, the resources of the human race are limited. The 7 large divisions naturally want to have more. Therefore, some conflicts are very normal. Isn't it the same for you guys? Don't fights occur between classmates occasionally? Actually, it's not much different. Yang Hui's words made sense, but he still felt very helpless. As long as there were multiple humans living together, they would be scheming. This was something that no one could change. Alright, you don't have to think too much. From now on, you guys will become a part of the Green Cloud Division. I'll bring you to the distribution department now. Yang Hui did not want to say anything else. They were all innocent children who had just walked out of school. He did not want his words to affect them. As for how much they would know in the future, he did not care. Yang Hui brought them to the distribution department and left. Just as they walked in, they saw a middle-aged man sitting in the office with a furious expression. Are you the students of the 7th Elite Division? The middle-aged man looked at Zhou Hao and the others. His expression was still cold and expressionless. Yes, sir. The middle-aged man nodded. You can just call me Lu Suo. Now, you're already members of the Green Cloud Division. However, the Green Cloud Division is different from your school. If you join the Green Cloud Division, you have to work for the Green Cloud Division. Of course, you also have to work for the humans of planet Earth. As he spoke, the middle-aged man gave Zhou Hao and the others a sign each that looked like a chip. This is your identity. You are still Grandmasters, and your security clearance in the Green Cloud Division will be limited. However, you don't have to be anxious. After you become supernatural experts or even quasi-heaven realm experts, your security clearance level will also increase. Zhou Hao and the others did not think much of the middle-aged man's words. This had always been a normal phenomenon. It was only fair for the stronger ones to know more. You guys are already Grandmasters and came from an elite team. Therefore, the Green Cloud Division naturally arranged a good place for you guys. With that said, the middle-aged man waved his hand and built a virtual map. Our Green Cloud Division is mainly responsible for the security of the 7th to 13th Spatial Rift and some important cities. After he finished speaking, the few of them were stunned. If they were in charge of the 7th to 13th Spatial Rifts, didn't that mean that they were responsible for 7 spatial rifts? Lu Su had also said just now that they had a total of 7 divisions and the Green Cloud Division only had 7 spatial rifts. In that case, wouldn't that mean that the other divisions were each only responsible for 1? Superintendent Lu seemed to have seen through their thoughts and smiled slightly. I know what you guys are thinking. However, you guys have yet to come into contact with that level. Do you think that the only danger we face is these 13 spatial rifts? Planet Earth is boundlessly vast, and the responsibilities of the various divisions are different. Comparatively speaking, the mission of our Green Cloud Division is not too difficult. Superintendent Liu's words shocked Zhou Hao and the others even more. Zhou Hao had never known what the other divisions were responsible for. He only thought that the humans were only guarding the 13 spatial rifts. Alright, it's useless to tell you all these things. Let's take a look at the city you're guarding first. Originally, I wanted you to return to Chu City and guard your hometown. However, some people think that you're an elite team and the future intermediate strength of the human race. If you continue to relax like this, it will be detrimental to your future development. Therefore, I arranged for you to go here. 100 City. At this point, the virtual screen changed and an extremely barren city appeared. This place looked tattered and extremely backward, making Zhou Hao and the others stunned. This place has once received radiation, causing the 100 City to become completely barren. For so many years, our human race has worked hard to develop this place, but we didn't get far. It's not only because the quality of the land here is poor, but also because this place is adjacent to the Red Cliff Abyss. That place is extremely dangerous. It's a place with no laws. There are all kinds of ferocious mutated beasts and traitors of our human race lurking in this land. Because of this, it's also very difficult for the 100 City to develop. Therefore, I'll send you guys to guard that place. In 3 years, try your best to take back the Red Cliff Abyss. This is the mission the Green Cloud Division has assigned for you. When Superintendent Lu said this, he was also a little worried. After all, that place was too chaotic. Even ordinary supernatural experts were unwilling to go there. Although it would be fine to send Heaven Realm experts to directly raise that place to the ground, the problems there were still too complicated. It was not the best solution to just raise that place to the ground. Moreover, even if they raised that place to the ground, it was still useless if they couldn't resolve the problems they were interested in. You will naturally know the exact details when you arrive. With that said, Lu Suo clapped his hands and the virtual image disappeared. Although the mission is somewhat difficult, I believe you can complete it. In addition, after becoming a member of the Green Cloud Division, you naturally have the authority to enter the regional network of the Green Cloud Division. You will find many things you need there. As for how to obtain them, you will also be able to find out yourselves. I won't say much. Alright, if there's no problem, you can go on your way. After Superintendent Lu finished speaking, a few uniformed men walked in and prepared the fighter planes. Zhou Hao and the others did not hesitate to board the fighter plane and head to 100 City. Chapter 396, Challenge the Tower. On the plane, Zhou Hao and the others were not idling either. They also had a rough understanding of the 100 City and the Green Cloud Division. This 100 City is really a chaotic place. There are several armed forces belonging to both humans and mutated beasts. It's simply a forgotten corner. I really don't understand how such a place even exists. Yuan Cheng did not dare to believe it. Now that the humans and the foreign races were on opposite sides, they felt that the humans and the foreign races would definitely fight each other the moment they met. How could such a city even exist? The Red Cliff Abyss was even more terrifying. Some of the armed forces were actually jointly organized by the humans and the mutated beasts. It was simply unbelievable. Could mutated beasts and humans really get along peacefully? I think the Green Cloud Division sent us there to train us. The danger level there is definitely much higher than in Chu City. Therefore, if we go there to train, we will definitely be able to obtain outstanding results in a short period of time. Fang Yu was very calm and her analysis made sense. Who cares? If any of the armed forces are unconvinced, we'll beat them until they submit. Zhang Yi was fearless and did not care at all. All right, we'll decide on the 100 city matter when we arrive. Did you see the virtual space of the Green Cloud Division? It's similar to our virtual combat cabin in school. It's really interesting inside. Yun Yan was currently checking out the regional network of the Green Cloud Division. She was really surprised to see the Green Cloud Division's virtual world. Indeed. I've long heard that there are many things you can do in the virtual world of the Green Cloud Division. You can train, shop, and even the missions are assigned there. I didn't expect there to be so many functions. Su Ling also spoke at this moment, inevitably feeling somewhat shocked. The training in this virtual world is 90% as effective as the training outside. Here, we can undergo special training. However, it costs a lot of gold coins every time. It's very costly. Zhang Yi was frowning. He was the classic example of someone who wanted to cultivate but did not want to spend any money. On the other hand, Zhou Hao was also very curious about this virtual world. He clicked on it and was immediately stunned. The scene in front of him directly changed, as if he had entered personally. However, Zhou Hao could still sense that this was a virtual world. Everything they could see was virtual. Even their bodies were virtual. Their current bodies had 90% of the strength and abilities from their original bodies. However, this was only the strength and abilities they had displayed publicly to the outside world. It seems that the system of the Green Cloud Division is not able to completely restore everything. Instead, they probably determined our strength based on the data they collected. For example, I currently only have the Shadow 7 Sabers and the God-slaying art. They must have collected my data and analyzed it to build my virtual body. Zhou Hao figured all of this out and was relieved. He was really worried that all his abilities would be detected by the system. That would be terrible. The Green Cloud Division's system was rather interesting. It was like a city. Zhou Hao could see many virtual figures enter and leave. Presumably, everyone was connected together virtually. In this way, it was also more convenient. At this moment, Su Ling and the others also entered the virtual world. The few of them saw each other and prepared to investigate. The virtual world of the Green Cloud Division had the same effect as the Heaven Dao software. There were also shops, exchange zones, and so on. Of course, there were also special training areas, challenge areas, and some arena areas. Zhou Hao did not know why they had not given this to him when he was President Zhou. Could it be that he had forgotten or did not want to give it to him at all? Zhou Hao was very puzzled, but he could understand the reasoning. After all, President Zhou was very mysterious. Zhu Zhao and the others did not know his true identity, so they were unable to condense his true body. Moreover, there were many secrets in the Green Cloud Division's regional network. If they were not 100% confident that they could control President Zhou, they naturally would not dare to open the regional network for him. Thinking of this, Zhou Hao felt relieved. They looked at many places and finally stopped at the challenge area. In front of him was a huge tower. It was very tall and had an introduction beside it. There are a total of 13 levels in the challenge tower. If you succeed in every level, you will be rewarded. Each level will cost you 1 million gold coins. This introduction was really simple and straightforward. 1 million gold coins for one challenge was not a small sum. However, Zhou Hao did not care about this bit of money. He had tens of billions of Heaven Dao coins on him. He could easily exchange for hundreds of millions. However, this challenge made Zhou Hao a little curious. They continued to look at the introduction, feeling even more shocked. This challenge tower is really extraordinary. There are a total of 13 levels. If you get to the 3rd floor, it means you're a Grandmaster. If you get to the 6th floor, you're a supernatural expert. If you get to the 9th floor, you're a quasi-heaven realm expert. If you go any higher than that, it means you have reached the heaven realm. Yuan Cheng was somewhat excited. They were all Grandmasters now. In other words, they had the ability to reach the 3rd floor. There will be rewards for the challenge. I'll give it a try first. Yuan Cheng was very anxious. Without saying anything, he directly spent 1 million gold coins and entered the challenge tower. Zhou Hao and the others were also curious about how to challenge this thing. They also wanted to see what reward Yuan Cheng could obtain, so they planned to stay here and take a look. However, who knew that after Yuan Cheng entered, he disappeared directly in less than 10 seconds. Then, a new Yuan Cheng condensed beside them. What's going on? Yuan Cheng, did you already get to the 3rd floor? Zhang Yi saw Yuan Cheng and could not help but ask curiously. Yuan Cheng's face turned bitter and he almost cried. I worked so hard to get 1 million, but it's all gone just like that. What a freaking scam! How could they claim that Grandmasters can reach the 3rd level? I was insta-killed by a monster the moment I entered. What? Hearing this, they were shocked. Although Yuan Cheng's cultivation level was only that of a Grandmaster and was not the strongest among them, they still knew that Yuan Cheng had some ability. It was a little unreasonable for him to be insta-killed. What happened? Tell me in detail. Zhou Hao was very curious and asked directly. After I entered, I saw a monster appear. It was also at the Grandmaster level. In the outside world, I would be able to kill it easily. However, when I was about to attack, I realized that for some reason, I could only unleash 60% of my strength. 40% of my strength was suppressed and I was unable to unleash it. Therefore I was insta-killed. Chapter 397, Commander Residence. They were all shocked. They did not expect that after entering this challenge tower, their strength would actually be restricted. However, this was also normal. Zhou Hao had just sensed that his strength had been restricted according to the Green Cloud Division's intel. Therefore, Yuan Cheng's situation was similar to his. Moreover, this place was virtual after all. It was already not bad for them to recreate 90% of their original strength. Naturally, their combat strength here could not be compared to their combat strength in the outside world. I was careless, too careless. If I had known, I wouldn't have challenged this tower. This is too scammy. Yuan Cheng was very depressed, but even so, it was useless for him to think too much now that the matter had passed. At this moment, they received a message through their communication channel. The plane had landed. The few of them immediately left the virtual world. When they opened their eyes, they were immediately shocked. This 100 city was really desolate. There were tattered places everywhere. The only place that resembled a city was the area within a radius of 50 kilometers where their plane landed. The rest of the city was filled with fortresses and defensive iron walls. It could be seen that this place was very chaotic. We have already arrived at the 100 city. You have already accepted your fate. As the guardians of the 100 city, the 7 of you will be responsible for the security here together. However, as for whether you can properly take over the entire 100 city here, that will depend on you. The supernatural expert in charge of sending Zhou Hao and the others to the 100 city smiled and left. Zhou Hao and the others blinked. They did not understand, but Zhou Hao smiled and understood. After all, this place was relatively desolate and there was no law here. To put it bluntly, there was no law here and people didn't really have to listen to the Green Cloud Division. Zhou Hao even suspected that this place might have been deliberately left behind by the Green Cloud Division. It was all for the sake of training these newbies who had just left the school. Although they were Grandmasters, there were simply too many Grandmasters in the human race. There were at least a few million of them. In such a huge number, the few of them were not that important. Since we're here, let's fulfill our duty. We should also think of a way to take over the 100 Cities city team. Zhou Hao said as the group walked towards the city's commander department. This place was very dilapidated, and the department of the commander was not much better. The few broken rock houses were also quite old. What made Zhou Hao and the others' expressions turn ugly was that there were many martial artists in the commander's department courtyard. There were more than 100 of them, but most of them were staggering around in a carefree manner. There were even many people who immediately began drinking and singing. These are martial artist soldiers? They look just like local hoodlums. Seeing this, Yuan Cheng couldn't help but say. Their reaction was natural. After all, this was the first time the group had seen such lazy soldiers. Humph, looks like they don't know the rules. If we don't teach them a lesson, they won't know what their responsibility is. Zhang Yi was immediately furious and snorted. Don't be anxious first. They're just some small soldiers. From their performance, we can tell what kind of person the 100 Cities commander is. We have to deal with him first. Otherwise, these people won't be so polite, Zhou Hao said indifferently. Then what should we do? Zhang Yi could not help but ask. Let's ask their commander to come out first and hand over the control of the city. Since we've been assigned here, we are the commanders now. Zhou Hao narrowed his eyes. The moment he arrived, he understood that this place did not rely on connections but on fists. Therefore, to make them submit, he had to have a powerful status and strength. Zhang Yi nodded and immediately shouted. 100 City Commander, we are from the 7th team. We have come to take over the commander department. Please, relevant personnel, come out to meet us. Zhang Yi shouted. As soon as he finished speaking, the others were stunned and could not help but look over. However, in the next second, they retracted their gazes and acted as if nothing had happened. They continued playing and drinking. They felt very uncomfortable. Zhang Yi was furious. Are you guys deaf? Get your commander out. We want to take over the commander department. Unfortunately, the response to Zhang Yi was still the same. Zhou Hao narrowed his eyes and smiled. He looked at them and said, looks like it's not easy for us to take over this place. As he spoke, Zhou Hao looked at the martial artists who were playing cards with a few martial artists not far away and walked over. Please inform your commander that Team 7 is here to take over the department. As soon as he finished speaking, that person raised his head to look at Zhou Hao and smiled. Team 7? Who the hell are you guys? If I were you, I would get lost quickly. Otherwise, the commander is going to come out and kick you out of the commander residence personally. That person was very arrogant and sounded even more impatient. When Zhou Hao heard this, he sneered and did not say anything else. He raised his hand, and his Grandmaster level cultivation directly exploded as he slapped over fiercely. That person was only a master and was immediately shocked by Zhou Hao's aura. This slap also sent him flying hundreds of meters away, causing him to vomit blood. To begin with, you're not supposed to be resting and playing cards in broad daylight. And you even dare to disobey your superior's order. You're simply courting death. As soon as Zhou Hao spoke, the martial artists present were shocked. They did not expect this young man to attack. However, they still did not care. He was just a rookie. What could he do? They figured that it wouldn't be a problem if they just continued idling around. These people are really fearless. As human martial artists, how could they be like this? Su Ling and the others also walked over. She was very puzzled and even a little angry. This place was originally a lawless place. The Green Cloud Division did not want to manage this place and they also did not want to be managed by the Green Cloud Division. Therefore, it became what it is now. Zhou Hao smiled and did not care. This was more interesting. After Zhou Hao finished speaking, his expression suddenly changed. He suddenly looked not far ahead. The door to the commander residence suddenly creaked open, and a lazy man walked out. Yo, Aren't you guys from Team 7? I believe you guys are here to take over, right? Sorry, the commanders have gone to Beast Mountain to kill the mutated beasts. You guys can wait outside. As he spoke, the person was about to close the door and enter the building. However, Zhou Hao snorted coldly and the Shadow 7 sabers exploded, directly shattering the already tattered building. I don't like this building at all. Since we're here, let's rebuild a better one. It's useless to keep this one. Let's destroy it. Zhou Hao said indifferently. When the lazy man saw this, his expression turned ugly. Chapter 398, Secret Competition. Zhou Hao did not care. He looked at Su Ling and the others and said, "Let's go. It's useless even if the commanders are around. This commander residence is now ours." Su Ling and the others were stunned for a moment. The handover procedures had not been completed yet, but Zhou Hao was already going in. Wasn't this a little unorthodox? There are no rules here. Didn't you guys see that the people here are too lazy? There are no military orders in their eyes. Therefore, we don't have to follow these rules. Zhou Hao did not care and walked into the commander residence first. Zhou Hao had just destroyed the tattered building, but the commander residence in the center had not been destroyed. Zhou Hao directly walked in. "How dare you guys enter the commander residence? You're simply courting death." As he spoke, that person directly exploded with his aura. He was actually also a grandmaster. This person is offending his superiors. "Zhang Yi, Yuan Cheng, tie him up," Zhou Hao said directly. Zhang Yi had long wanted to attack, and Yuan Cheng was the same. They attacked directly. How could a grandmaster resist two grandmasters at once? Moreover, they were all from the elite team and were much stronger than ordinary grandmasters. The battle did not last long before that person vomited blood from being beaten by Yuan Cheng and Zhang Yi. Zhou Hao and the others directly entered the commander residence. It had to be said that other places were tattered, but this place was dazzling and decorated well. These few commanders were indeed capable. Zhou Hao and the others entered directly and immediately sat on the main seat. That person was tied up and casually thrown to the ground. However, this person was still ruthless. "You guys are really courting death. You guys want to occupy the commander residence before the transaction is completed. You guys are really courting death. Wait for the commanders to return. They will definitely not let you off." At this moment, that person also began to reason. However, Zhou Hao did not care about his words at all. Instead, he directly took out the order for him to take a look. "It doesn't matter if the procedures happen, we've already been appointed the commanders of the 100 City. This handover is just a process. The Green Cloud Division sent us here to control the 100 City. It doesn't matter if you are convinced or not. From now on, we are the commanders of the 100 City. I've already taught you a lesson for offending your superior just now, but it looks like you still haven't learned your lesson. Hang him outside the commander residence for the others to see," Zhou Hao said directly. Zhang Yi and Yuan Cheng did not hesitate and immediately let him hang 100 meters from the ground outside. "You, how dare you? I'm the commander's personal guard, Chen Tenglong. If you dare to treat me like this, just wait for the commanders to come back and teach you a lesson." He was still arrogant, but Zhou Hao did not care. However, Su Ling and the others were a little worried. "Zhou Hao, aren't we going a little overboard by doing this? After all, he's also a human warrior." Although Yun Yan, Fang Yu and the others were also certain that this person was very infuriating, wasn't doing this a little too excessive? "Zhou Hao, we're new here and don't know the identity and strength of the commanders. Will we be targeted by them if we deal with his personal guards like this?" Zhou Hao shook his head. "They must be targeting us. This is not the outside world, but a place without laws. If we don't act stronger, they will ride on our necks and poop on us. Moreover, we are the commanders sent by the Green Cloud Division. They wouldn't dare to do anything." Even if they are dissatisfied with us, they wouldn't dare to do anything blatantly. As for those commanders who want to deal with us, there's no need for us to worry. Even if we didn't do what we did, do you think they would have treated us nicely? Don't forget that the order had already been passed down today. At this moment, those few commanders are actually not here. Instead, they went out to kill some mutated beasts. They're clearly targeting us. No matter how polite we are to them, it's useless. Why don't we be more domineering and show them who's boss? Zhou Hao's analysis was very reasonable. After receiving the order, those commanders actually left the 100 City. It was obvious that they were doing so to suppress Zhou Hao and the others. At this moment, these 3 commanders were in the Red Cliff Abyss. In comparison, this place was much more luxurious than the 100 City. In a huge clubhouse here, 3 commanders were eating, drinking, and playing. Sitting opposite them were a few humans and a few foreign races who looked similar to humans. They were all holding a few graceful women. There were humans and demons. The demon race and the human race had very similar appearances. It was rumored that the demon race was descended from humans who had conspired with the foreign races. The women of the demon race were very beautiful and had a graceful figure. Other than having long ears and a tail, they did not look any different from humans. Big brother, it's really interesting for those juniors to come here to take over the 100 City. Tell me, what does the Green Cloud Division want to do? Are they going to attack us? A bearded man among the 3 commanders could not help but say. Third brother, you don't understand. The Green Cloud Division will not attack us. This is the Red Cliff Abyss and is originally a lawless place. There's no need for them to develop this place. However, ignoring us is not a viable solution either. Therefore, they sent those kids here. They claim to be here to manage the 100 City, but they're actually here to train. They're using us as free training. I have to say, the Green Cloud Division is quite interesting. A somewhat monstrous-looking man with long ears was clearly a member of the demon race. Second brother is right. Those children are from some elite division and are important seedlings. It's very appropriate for them to train here. After all, a Grandmaster's cultivation is enough for them to protect themselves. The burly man in the lead said indifferently with disdain. Then we don't have to care about them. If they try to act tough with us, we'll teach them a lesson, the bearded man said with a laugh. We can't attack them. After all, they are here on a mission. If we attack, the Green Cloud Division will not let the matter rest. Just because they decided to leave us alone now doesn't mean they'll still leave us alone if we attack them. The best way is to pretend to be obedient and not do anything. We'll listen to everything but not do anything. In any case, the armed forces are in our hands. What are we afraid of? The demon smiled as a teasing look flashed in his eyes. But at this moment, someone suddenly barged in from outside. Commanders, not good, not good. Bodyguard Chen has been beaten by the newbie and is being hung in the commander residence. Chapter 399, The Purpose of Training. As soon as he finished speaking, the 3 people in the room were shocked. The burly man in the lead's expression instantly turned cold, and the bearded man was even more so. He slammed the table and immediately shattered it. Damn, they dare to ride on our heads on the first day. They're simply courting death. They're only at the Grandmaster level, but I'm a first-grade supernatural expert. It's easy for me to kill them. I'll go and kill them now. As he spoke, the bearded man immediately stood up and was about to leave. However, the feminine demon man called out, Third brother, what are you doing? Why are you so angry? Damn, they even dared to attack our personal guards. That's equivalent to slapping our faces. Aren't we going to kill them? The bearded man immediately roared. Third brother, you need to learn to hold it in. Aren't we also slapping their faces by coming to the Red Cliff Abyss to pass the time today? It's normal for them to hit back. You don't have to care. Moreover, bodyguard Chen only suffered a little. It's nothing. The feminine man smiled and picked up his glass to take a sip, not caring at all. The middle-aged man in the lead did not say a word and only looked at him. However, the bearded man could not sit still. How could you say that? By attacking bodyguard Chen, they've humiliated us. Are we supposed to just endure it? The bearded man said unhappily. Of course we can't just endure it. It's not unexpected for them to attack like this. After all, they're from the 7th Elite Division. It's very normal for them to be a little arrogant. However, arrogance is all they have. What we need to do is to chase them away. If we kill them, the three of us won't be able to continue living like this. Therefore, we can't fall out with them yet. At least not now. The feminine man had a smile on his demon-like face. The middle-aged man in the lead said indifferently, "Second brother, what do you want to do?" He knew that although his second brother was from a foreign race, he was indeed smart and intelligent. Perhaps he had a way to resolve the matter without bloodshed. Since they could not offend the Green Cloud Division, they could only chase them out. Big brother, actually, they only came here to train. The living conditions in the 100 City are difficult, and the Red Cliff Abyss is filled with all kinds of bad people. They won't be able to stay here for long. If there's nothing interesting, they will leave. It's fine for us to let them be the commanders first. After all these martial artists belong to us. Moreover, although this 100 City seems to be in ruins, danger is everywhere. As commanders, they naturally have to guard this place. Therefore, perhaps tomorrow, their corpses will show up on the streets without us having to do anything. There are many people who have fallen into the Red Cliff Abyss because of the Green Cloud Division. Even if we are able to endure it, I'm afraid the others won't be able to. Wouldn't it be better if they were killed by others instead of us? The demon-like man smiled. After saying this, the middle-aged man smiled. That's right. Instead of dealing with them and leaving traces, we might as well rely on others to get rid of them. The middle-aged man nodded and looked at the bearded man. Third brother, when we return later, don't show your dissatisfaction. We'll listen to whatever they say. What can a few mere grandmasters do? Hearing his brother speak, the bearded man did not dare to say anything and could only nod. The three of them left the clubhouse and headed straight for the 100 City. As for Zhou Hao and the others who were sitting in the commander residence, they were not idling either. This commander residence was not small. Moreover, it was obvious that the three commanders were people who knew how to enjoy themselves. The building outside was tattered, but the interior was very luxurious. The few of them found their own accommodations and settled down. After all, they would stay here for the next period of time. Zhou Hao, what should we do when the three commanders return? If they don't obey us, can we defeat them? At this moment, Yuan Cheng said worriedly. After all, they were all supernatural experts. Among Zhou Hao's group, the most powerful Su Ling was also only at the peak of the Grandmaster level. Although she had the strength to fight a first-grade supernatural expert, she was still unable to resist three supernatural experts. It's fine. They won't attack. Don't worry, we were sent by the Green Cloud Division. As long as the three of them are not stupid, they won't find trouble with us. Zhou Hao was well aware of this and smiled faintly. Ever since he knew that they had directly disappeared after receiving the order, Zhou Hao knew that these people did not want to fight them head-on. They were only doing this to show their strength. Similarly, it was also a test. If they did not have any reaction and just waited obediently, they would naturally have the final say in the 100 City. However, if they showed their domineeringness, the three commanders would change their methods. The best way was to comply on the surface and disobey secretly. They would play nice in the meantime and wait for the few of them to have no interest in the 100 City. Since Zhou Hao knew what they were thinking, he naturally had a countermeasure. You said that they won't deal with us? Really? Then what will they do? At this moment, Su Ling was also curious. The reason why they won't deal with us is that they're afraid of the Green Cloud Division's influence. After all, we're from the 7th Elite Squad. They can't afford to offend us. As for what they will do, they will naturally try to flatter us on the surface and find an opportunity to attack us behind our backs. Zhou Hao said indifferently, not caring at all. Ah? Attack us behind our backs? Then what should we do? After all, we're grandmasters and they're supernatural experts. Yuan Cheng said anxiously. After all, he was afraid of death. It was fine for him to think that way. Zhou Hao swept his gaze over and shook his head. This is the purpose of our training. The first is to increase our strength and reach the supernatural level as soon as possible. In that case, these 3 people are nothing to worry about. Now that we haven't reached the supernatural level, we can only play their mind games and deal with them. This is also a part of strength, after all. Therefore, the Green Cloud Division's intention is very simple. They want us to survive here and give them orders despite having lower cultivation. This is to give us pressure and let us break through as soon as possible. At the same time, it's also to train our character and methods. Zhou Hao analyzed it very clearly. This was why they were sent to 100 City. It was a place to train the human elites. Although they were only a few supernatural experts and were nothing, in this lawless place, it was impossible for weak people to survive without brains. Therefore, instead of being frightened, why don't you turn this anxiety into strength and break through as soon as possible? When we break through to the supernatural level, this 100 City will completely belong to us. Only then will we have the ability to resolve the Red Cliff Abyss. Do you understand? Chapter 400, First Confrontation. Zhou Hao's analysis was very thorough. All of them understood what he meant. At the same time, they were somewhat surprised, thinking to themselves that Zhou Hao was really smart. Zhou Hao, you're so smart. With you around, we can rest assured. Yuan Cheng chuckled when he heard this. Su Ling did not speak, but the way she looked at Zhou Hao was filled with admiration. It was very obvious. Zhou Hao smiled. However, at this moment, he frowned and looked outside. He said indifferently, "The owners are back." As soon as he finished speaking, the expressions of the other 5 people in the room changed slightly. After sensing it, they indeed sensed 3 powerful auras landing outside the 100 City Commander residence. This aura was already at the supernatural level. The weakest was a 1st grade, and the strongest was a 3rd grade. He could already be considered as a top-notch expert. However, in Zhou Hao's eyes, this strength was simply trash. It was nothing. What a powerful cultivation! As expected, supernatural experts are indeed different. Zhang Yi's eyes were deep as he was also shocked by this aura. They're only doing this to show us that they're supernatural experts and we're grandmasters. How interesting! Let's go out and meet them. Zhou Hao smiled indifferently and walked out first. The other 5 hurriedly followed behind. Just as he walked out, he saw 3 figures descend. Zhou Hao looked at the 3 of them, and his gaze paused on the demon-level man. This man was really handsome. His fair skin was probably something that women would be envious of. However, his long ears still showed that he was from a foreign race. Moreover, he was an expert from the demon race. Zhou Hao was naturally not unfamiliar with the demon race. Although the others had never seen them before, they still knew. Therefore, he was not too surprised to see the supernatural expert of the demon race. The 3 commanders also sized up Zhou Hao and the others. Seeing that they were all grandmasters, they were not worried at all. After all, they could kill a mere grandmaster with a single slap. Grand Commander, you guys are finally back. They seized the commander residence and they even injured me. Grand Commander, please take revenge for me. When bodyguard Chen saw his boss's return, he immediately wailed. Zhou Hao smiled indifferently and said directly, I believe the 3 of you are the commanders of the 100 City. Grand Commander Yin Feng, Second Commander Hua Manlu, and Third Commander Tu Shan, right? Zhou Hao and the others had already learned about their information before coming. Although the information was not very detailed, it still included basic information like their names and respective strength. That's right. I believe you must be members of the Green Cloud Division's 7th Elite Squad. As expected, all of you are valiant and extraordinary. Grand Commander Yin Feng smiled and said directly. Second Commander, Hua Manlu, said in a magnetic voice, everyone, I'm really sorry. We just went to kill the mutated beasts that were causing trouble. That's why we weren't home. It's really our fault. However, since the few of you have come, we can rest assured. There's no need to be so particular about the formalities. Since we approve of it, you guys can officially take over. The three of us will also be able to relax a little. Hearing this, Zhou Hao smiled and immediately said, thank you. However, I'm afraid it won't be easy for the three of you to become commanders. We're new here and don't know anything. We still have to rely on you guys. We're all from the Green Cloud Division, so we're naturally on the same side. We won't use our status as commanders to pressure you. Don't worry about this. The few of us have always been easygoing. As Zhou Hao spoke, he looked at Su Ling and the others and said indifferently, the few commanders have worked hard. It's really unreasonable for us to take their place now that we're here. How about this? The 6 of us will be the main commanders and the 3 of you will be the vice commanders. We still have to work together to help the 100 City. Zhou Hao quickly made a decision for the rest of the. After all, he didn't want the other party to relax and stop working. Moreover, he made it sound like he was doing them a favor. Although this vice commander position was not small, Zhou Hao's meaning was very clear. In the future, the 6 of them will be the leaders, and the 3 of them will be the subordinates. The bearded man could not understand Zhou Hao's meaning, but Yin Feng and Hua Manlu still understood. Yin Feng's expression was extremely ugly. Just as he was about to speak, Hua Manlu smiled. Hehe, then we'll listen to Commander Zhou Hao's instructions. We'll do as you say. Hua Manlu's words made Yin Feng's expression turn ugly. However, he also knew that his second brother had many ideas. Perhaps he had already thought of a plan. Commander Zhou, see if you can release our personal guard. He has also been punished. Please give us some face and let this matter go, all right. Zhou Hao naturally did not care. After all, that person only did as he was told. Since Vice Commander Hua has spoken, I will naturally give you face. As Zhou Hao spoke, he waved the saber in his hand and helped bodyguard Chen down. When Yin Feng saw this scene, he didn't say anything. He calmly said, since the commander residence has already been occupied and we don't have a place to stay, I believe Commander Zhou wouldn't mind building another vice commander residence in the abandoned land of the 100 City, right? Zhou Hao naturally did not mind and nodded. Of course. As soon as he finished speaking, Yin Feng looked at all the martial artists in the commander residence and said indifferently, all of you, build the vice commander residence as soon as possible. Do you understand? This group of martial artists naturally did not dare to go against Yin Feng's intentions and hurriedly left the commander residence. When Zhou Hao saw this scene, he sneered in his heart. This Yin Feng was indeed something. He had already gotten rid of all the martial artists. Commander Zhou, look. We're establishing a vice commander residence and are lacking in manpower. You won't refuse, right? At this moment, Hua Manlu smiled and said. Of course not. Since you need them to help with the construction, go ahead. Zhou Hao smiled and did not care at all. These people were not on the same side as them to begin with. It was useless for them to stay here. He didn't mind for them to leave. Moreover, they were vice commanders and he was the main commander. As long as he could order the vice commanders, didn't it also mean that he could order those martial artists? Otherwise, the martial artists would feel unconvinced if he passed the order directly. Seeing Zhou Hao's reaction, Yin Feng and the other two smiled and left. In an instant, there were only the 6 of them in the commander residence. They took everyone away. What's the meaning of this? Could it be that they want to keep the martial artists to themselves? Yuan Cheng hurriedly said angrily. Zhou Hao replied indifferently, what's the use of keeping a bunch of motley crew? If they want to take them away, they can take them away.